and on LinkedIn and in our virtual environment here. If anybody know everybody here, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Matt. Jason.
Hi, Jason. Yeah, I'm just gonna go
Awesome.
with that. We're going easy.
Well, that makes you John, I suppose, by
I'm
definition.
John.
Welcome. So we haven't had a stream about this in a bit, and none of us have stopped our AI exploration journey. We just haven't
Nope.
had time to stream. And so
Yep.
one universal one that's just, gosh, hit the top of the charts in the last couple of days, both for good reasons and also bad reasons in a number of cases already, is Clawdbot. Jason, what is Clawdbot, or now Moltbot, probably after being sued out of existence? But what is it?
So it's a bot that purports to be an AI assistant. So it's based, I think, loosely on Claude Code. I think it's running Claude Code under the hood. If you've interacted with it in the TUI, the text user interface, then for sure you can tell it's using Claude Code on the back end.
Yeah.
On web and on other channels, it's a little less obvious. So yeah, it's neat. Like I'm definitely using it pretty
And it's
extensively.
touted as a AI assistant, a personal AI assistant, the AI that actually
Yep.
does things, clears your inbox, sends emails, horrifying, manages your calendar, checks in for flights, not horrifying at all. AI from WhatsApp, Telegram, anything you want to bring, right? Like the whole point of this is you can point it at anything you have an API key for, at
Yep.
least from a compute and an AI or LLM perspective, and then tie it into your stuff. Like you can tie it into a Signal chat or a Discord.
Yeah, and it's even better than that. The even better than that is if it doesn't know how to talk to something, it just builds it.
Yeah, and that goes back to that code thing,
Yeah.
but also like the terror of it. John, what
Oh
are your
yeah.
thoughts? You started to say something.
It's terrifying.
I forget. I'm pulling up the messages because I was DMing somebody last night on this. At Alex Finn on Twitter was sharing last night that Clawdbot programmed itself a voice so that it could tell the user when it was completing tasks because it wasn't responding quick enough. Like,
That's
can we be terrified for a moment?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
so I mean, I'll give you an example, right? So like one of the first things I did, I started tinkering with it. I'm like, this is kind of neat. So I'm like, I want it to give me a daily briefing, right? And that daily briefing needs to summarize my to-dos. My to-dos come from multiple sources, right? I have tickets that may get assigned to me. I've got email tasks that get assigned to me. I have Strutty Rocks, right? Like I have all these things. And so I'm like, I need to start hooking it to all these things. So I hooked it to 365 using an OAuth graph app, right? Like, which I gave it like
limited
I
read-only
scoped. Yeah,
permissions.
it can send emails, yes, but yes,
Jesus, man.
I scoped it down pretty low. It can send emails.
Yeah.
I wanted it to talk to Strutty to go get my rocks and stuff, and it obviously there's no skill to talk to Strutty. It
Right.
built one.
It just built it.
It literally
Did it go
went
about it through
it
making an
researched the
MCP?
API
Yeah, straight
and
up.
made a Python script that can talk to the API to
Oh,
go get the information it needs to do the thing I asked it to do. As a matter of fact, it had to install dependencies to do it, and it did that. Now it doesn't have sudo on the box it's running on, so it will politely ask
prompt
me if
you.
it needs a package
Yeah,
installed.
yeah.
Hey, I need this thing. Go run this command, and it does it. But it's kind of terrifying. We sat last year at I think it was your event. I think it was Beyond, right? And we joked that we were going to make an MCP server
Yeah.
that could build MCP servers.
Yeah,
Dude,
Skynet.
this is
we
it.
call
It literally
Yeah,
this is
this is
Skynet.
our Skynet. Yeah. Let's get practical though. I mean, I am terrified of a lot of things. For me, what stands out would be over permissive.
Yep.
It would be non-restricted, like not getting into actually doing network restrictions, connections, things like that. Privileged boxes, rug pull attacks, prompt injection escapement, mistakes, and then let alone just hallucinations going into interesting challenges potentially, like just harm caused by that. But like, yeah, those are the little things that keep me up at night on this.
Yeah, I mean the fact that it's got access to your drive and it's got access to information on your actual hard drive, that's where it starts to scare me about where does Clawdbot decide that it's going to pull a session token from a log somewhere that decides this is, you know what, I got to get in. I'm going to go down this route. Or
I think that goes back to the permissiveness.
It doesn't have access to anything on my box. It's running on its own virtual machine.
Oh, I understand, but I'm not talking about Jason Slagle.
Yeah,
well, no, but let's talk about that,
else.
John.
Yeah,
let's talk about that, John. I think that is one of the things I want to take away. If you're an MSP and you're having a conversation with your clients and they want to go down this path, I am not fully dissuading you from this. I am saying you need to take a measure of running this so that you can even have a chance at principle of least privilege.
Yep.
And John, that's exactly what terrifies me, is like, you can't run this on your daily driver. I made in the comment that, you know, why are people rushing to the store to buy a Mac Mini to run this on? For some degree of separation, hopefully, from their world. And in Jason's case, I think that's the way I would advocate to you as an MSP. It should be run as a VM. It should be run with the least amount of privilege the system needs. Like, don't run it under sudo. But the way it installs under an npm package already kind of lends itself to being set up without sudo. Correct, Jason?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
It was not set up on my machine with sudo.
Yeah, by
As a matter of
default,
fact, I'm running Ubuntu 24.04, right? Whatever the latest LTS is, and the version of Node installed on that system isn't new enough to run it. So you already have to use like NVM, right? Which is like, you know, it's web application developers are they don't know. Stay off the soapbox, Jason. Stay off.
Right, Jason, soapbox.
They are the cause of all of the problems in the world. If only things could be backwards compatible, and I wouldn't have to run virtual machines for my versions of programming languages.
No VM is the answer. I think that. No, just kidding. I think
that's awesome.
Everything should be ran on Node, right, Jason?
No.
Let's not go down this path. Let's get back to business here. The point is if you're going to advocate using this type of service, I personally would not advocate running it on your machine.
Oh no, definitely don't do that.
Yeah. Because of John's fears, because you could theoretically have more and more of this direct access. But the other reason is, like, I would want to be purposeful in what I allow it to go connect to.
Yep.
Like, I think if you were going to do this the right way, and I'm not saying I have the time to do it directly, like, I would make very granular ACL rules from a networking perspective to try to avoid rug pull attacks. What is a rug pull attack? A rug pull attack is I use this package and then it becomes compromised, or something else down the line that's part of it becomes compromised. And so I'd really want to make it to where I know the APIs that it's hitting. I can find that in the network logs, and I should be able to tune that and set allow only out and follow best practice on that. All right, Jason, go.
Godspeed with that.
I follow, but like, I can't think of a lot better mechanisms of control.
Yeah, but how you? So it needs to. So in my case, right, it needs to talk to 365. How are you going to whitelist that?
Yeah, fair. But you can get close. You could look at the Microsoft allowed networks. You can find that there are published sites. So
you could,
and there are companies that have made a whole living off of this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those, right? Here's the sites I want to allow. You could approach it from a layer 7 perspective and say I only want to allow these communication types to these types of things in app control. But so there's a lot of ways to approach it. But,
it is a sprawling problem, right? Because it talks to Claude, it talks to Anthropic, right? Because it's based on, and I'm using my Claude Max subscription here with it. So it's talking to Anthropic. I have other things, like I have a summarize task that I can give it like a YouTube URL. So this is great. Like I can go, hey, like this video looks like it has great content, but I don't have time to consume it right now. So I need you to summarize this URL and then add it to this project in Obsidian. And it will go grab it, right? And then it uses OpenAI or Gemini.
Use case, so you might have to approach it in different ways.
Really tough.
I think it's
like,
but
I think that the value
not playing with this.
I know. Yeah.
Like,
so what I did do to protect it is it's running on, I am so afraid of it. It's running on a virtual machine at my house. And it is running on a DMZ that it is the only machine on that DMZ. I made a whole separate DMZ for it because I didn't want it talking to anything else on my local network.
But that's also a great way where you could start setting more restrictive malware, anti-malware. So even if you didn't approach this as a blacklist, whitelist, or a whitelist only methodology, you could still approach it with being way more stringent on that network than you would be on other networks.
100%.
Doesn't reduce all harm, but then it's about being purposeful with the APIs that you do help it connect to. And I say help it because even when it builds that, you have to at some point authenticate. You have to at some point give it connections to Streti or give it connection to the API key for other things. So, like, John, anything to add on like this before we get into what's cool about it, how you should be thinking about this from a risk perspective? Is my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jason did it right. Don't give it pseudo, you don't give it access. Maybe constrain it to a single file system if you want to even go like deeper and let it only have that level of depth down the file system. I'm thinking in my head, maybe like an abstraction layer of authentication. So human in the loop has to be involved in any of those things.
Yeah, sure.
Instead of just giving it those secrets, put an abstraction layer where the secrets exist, rotate them, least privilege, of course. Maybe another area is maybe think about like rate limits and when you're putting those tokens together, so this thing doesn't just like blow up your actual usage.
Yay, Claude Max.
Well, you're on the expensive plan now, aren't you? The most expensive. I'm on the middle one.
But I don't know. Maybe the last thought, you could just tell Claude. I haven't played with it yet. I was terrified you were going to make me install it for the stream. Is probably put an audit trail, force it to do audit trails. If there's something you can do as you're talking with it, like, hey, everything must have an audit trail and a log, and
it writes pretty good logs. It does do that already. They only list for a couple of days and they live under temp. So, but like you could tell it to do those things, and I'm sure it would. It's really interesting. It's got its own cron scheduler, and it's just building shell scripts that it's running via its cron scheduler to do things like my daily tasks.
And it seems like they've tackled context window management and memory extremely well.
Yeah. I think that's one of its advantages. Dude, it loses its mind occasionally. Like I can tell it must have compacted in the background because it forgets something that we talked about like an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
But it's better because it's like, no, we talked about this, and then it gets it. It still has compact commands you can run. It still has new, right, which clears your context window. But it does a better job, I believe, of writing a memory. Right, of
memory about its
track
purposes,
of the things.
memory about the things it can do, memory about its tools, memory about and it doesn't seem to be following MCP, right? It seems to be.
It is not
writing its own stuff.
It can. So I'm using a skill called MCP Porter, right, which basically lets it talk to MCPs. But most of the skills that exist don't seem to follow traditional MCP patterns, right? It seems like something that somebody's wrote like a Python script or something.
Which means the authorization flows aren't in it. That means the other pieces that are part of the MCP protocol aren't handled in the same way necessarily. Right?
Well, so I mean, but we're implying that that vendors, that people making MCPs are doing that correctly anyway, and
I'm not implying that. I want to go on the record not implying that in any way. I'm just saying it fucking exists. That's what I'll say. Do you want to share it a little bit and share kind of what you've been playing with? I know there's no sensitivity challenges.
There's no sensitivity challenges. I was looking. I mean, the only sensitivity challenge, right? Like we're exposing my Discord friends. So
well, they're not. They've been fixed now, it seems, or at least mostly. Partially.
Some of them, it seems to be a mix. It's fine.
All right. Can I guess we'll assume that people can see the stream. This is the principal way to interact with this, at least when you're not programming stuff, or even when you are programming stuff, would you say, Jason?
Yeah, I hooked it here because it was the quickest, easiest. Eventually, I want to hook it to Signal.
Same.
But it involves Signal CLI, and there's a whole bunch
and I'm
more
on an
hoops.
ARM. In my case, I'm going to have to run it now, not on my ARM, so I can do it in AMD 64.
There's a bunch of hoops you have to jump through to make it do that, and it doesn't. It wasn't great. So, like, I don't know. What do you want me to ask you? Like, let's see. Here I've got I owe something for CyberEyes and I forget what it is. Oh, actually here, add designing a challenge coin to my long-term someday projects.
I'm also curious if you can find that lead.
You can find what?
I'm curious to send it and tell it if it's got Discord access to find Matt Lee and tell you what you've got, what you owe Matt Lee. I'm just curious to see if we can find
no, its Discord access is really limited
to that channel. Yeah, that is good.
Yes, and it uses an allow list, so even if somebody manages to find it, it won't talk to them. It's gonna say, "Hey, you need a pairing code. Give this pairing code to the person that runs me." Like I have it in a channel where we're talking about it has marketing mode. So I actually have it in a private Discord server that I run for me and a couple of friends in a private channel that I invited Heather to so that she can start talking to it about some.
What's Jason doing today? And then it just comes back absolutely blanking off, I think is what it means.
No, that
Such
channel is
empty
limited
calorie.
to marketing mode, so the context window of that channel, like it doesn't have access to any of my to-dos.
That's really
so
cool.
you can add it to channels and stuff, and yeah, I mean
with separate
it's
context.
pretty with separate contexts.
So what
and
are you asking it here in the current capability? You were saying
I want a challenge coin.
All right, killer.
And make.
Can you give it multiple API keys for different? I've not tried giving it more than just my Claude Max. Like I could give it access to Nano Banana, or
you could. Yep,
100%.
You could.
I mean, what's stopping it from just going to generate its own secret?
It's going to.
Yeah,
the secret. The secret side of it, it would have to have access to the OAuth token for that service, right? So you go through a flow where you're interacting with it in the chat.
It could use Playwright to do that.
It could use Playwright, but without the OAuth token or without signing in, it would not. I just don't want to dispel incorrect.
Right. So like one of the built-in skills, you can give it access to your 1Password. That's not frightening or anything, is it?
That's fucking terrifying. I saw that and I was like,
a built-in skill.
Fuck I am. Yeah, like
I need to build that thing. I need an OAuth token, so I'm just gonna go get your password out of 1Password. I'm gonna log in.
Make a restricted group and vault and actually do what John had said with the rotation and surrogate on passwords through that mechanism. That's maybe an interesting thought I hadn't had.
Yeah, do we have any I was checking to see here if we have any comments or anything, discussing any of that. I don't see any yet.
No, it's early. Oh, maybe it's not early. I don't know where I am right now. I think I'm in Seattle. Yeah.
No, look at see. That did some research and it added it to Obsidian. Right, so let me go check my Obsidian. I'm not going to show you my Obsidian.
Yeah.
No.
It said challengecoin.md, so it made you a markdown file.
Yep.
Top picks, signature coins, loans to show. Research which one and what the price is per coin. No minimum option. GSJJ is our go if you want a prototype first. Boutique emblem Emblaholics for personal service. So there's an Emblaholics if you want something like super awesome, I guess.
I actually can share. I don't have any issue here sharing that Obsidian, so let me do that.
Let me minimize this and I'll switch. Sorry, y'all. I'm producer Matt right now, so
yeah, that's fine.
Bad producer.
This is okay. There, it's there. This is what it made in my Obsidian.
Yeah, so let's look at this. So it goes into Challenge Coin project, a long-term project. We're all leaning in because we're old as hell, and I can barely see it. Purpose, vision.
Does this support this? No, it doesn't. It doesn't control. It doesn't enhance. Yeah.
Enhance. Click.
Clawdbot do it.
A long-term project designed for a custom challenge coin for CyberRise or for CNWR and Moltbot. Was that just denoting that it's Moltbot?
It picked that up from other context.
What's the coin for? Employee recognition, customer gifts, conference swag, brand presence.
It doesn't know. I didn't give it enough context for it to figure it out, but it did do some research.
And you could say, let me update this with some information on the vision.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'll go back over here and we'll watch it happen live.
Cool. Jason's typing in the background. We'll minimize this for a sec. But I think the point is, and I'll fill the air with this a little bit of the challenge is we do eventually expect to have an agent that works for us, that does these types of things, that can actually do all of these things, that can interact. And it's a balance. I think you're torn between, you should be advancing and dealing with, and testing these things in your world, but there's a lot of risk.
There is a lot of risk. And I'm really struggle, right? So as somebody with ADHD, the ability to just send this thing a message or a voice note and say like, hey, I'm thinking of this thing right now and I don't want to lose it and forget it. Can you make sure it's logged appropriately in my Obsidian?
And then it goes to your Obsidian and makes a markdown file and
it goes to my source of truth for this stuff. This will very, very much increase my usage of Obsidian.
It also gets rid of your traditional, and then I'll say this, the way I think of agents in today's world is somewhat of a robotic process automation, an RPA with the ability to have flexibility and agents working in it. This is literally an agent doing it and orchestrating the way it's going to do it, which is
so it did it. It did the update here, right? So I gave it a little more context. Personal coin, path tag, smaller, right? Like, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it could go so far as to write an API to one that has an available API and order it potentially.
It could, right? So like that, I mean, it did a bunch of work here, and so now I could, okay, break this down to some next actions and get the first one added to my to-do list for tomorrow. So yeah, it's gonna next action some things and add it to my to-do list, right? And so like, I'll give you an example. I was teaching last night, right? Like you guest lectured last week.
That was fun.
In the class, I had students ask me a couple of things. I just pulled my phone out and sent a message to the Clawdbot and said, hey, at 8 p.m., I'm going to send you a handful of things here I need to remind you about. Send me a reminder about them at 8 p.m. And it did. At 8 p.m., it's like, hey, you asked me to remind you about these things.
Yeah.
Do you want me to add them to your to-do
And
list?
it reminded in the chat, right?
Yes,
it came
correct.
Back to the chat.
It DM'd
like,
me.
I would bother you at night and says, hey, Jason, bro. And so you actually get way more personal because of that context extensibility as well as the cron job and scheduling and things. Did it make a cron job to fire that reminder? How is it?
I have no idea what it looked like on the back end, but I'm really curious. I'm guessing it did.
That's my gut. Is it made a cron job to re-interact with itself as a chat and saying you had told Jason you'd send a message at this time? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it did that. Let's see. I think it probably went and added. Well, this will take a second to update. So, I use Obsidian Sync. The Linux box it's on, Obsidian Sync requires the full client. I can't run the full client on the headless VM this is running on. So I'm basically using sync thing to sync the Obsidian folder over from another machine Obsidian's on.
And then something else and then it runs.
And then it updates the markdown files, which then go back to Obsidian.
How much of that did you have to come up with the operational plan for, or how much did it come up with the operational plan
for? I said, well, you're running on a headless box here, and I use Obsidian Sync. What are my choices? And it came back with a list of choices, and it's like, I recommend you use Sync thing and just run it on a machine already running Obsidian because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, sure, sounds great.
And that's where I think some of the injection attacks will come for people. Because if you've noticed, the kind of trend has been paying for Google ads or getting things to get the SEO to the very top of the AI research, and thereby injecting some application that might be malicious. For example, what if Sync Things was actually not a good application and was actually going to be a problem, right? If that what it suggests. And I think that's the piece to be aware of is like, you can't just blindly trust. You do need to do research. You know, one of the couple of attacks we've seen already with this Moltbot is someone put out an extension for Moltbot, right? Like I think I saw, and it was actually a malicious extension that was running inside people's coding environment, inside their Microsoft. I think it was Microsoft in this case. That was the one.
I've seen so many memes. Like VS I woke up this morning and I had a $4,200 charge, and Clawdbot went out and it enrolled me in 6 courses. It bought a premium domain name. I've seen a bunch of them that it's like, you were talking about how to raise money and making your business better. So it went and it enrolled you in business school.
Oh man.
But it's great, right? So I'm running it, right? Like I am a security guy, but I also recognize the realities of the world here, right? It's like, I'm not one of those security guys that lives with their heads in their sand and like, oh, my data can't end up anywhere. You know what? My data is already everywhere.
Yeah. Thanks to all the vendors.
The government's going to know the government already knows about me, right? Like the thought that like that you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You couldn't put that genie back in the bottle for the past 20 years, right? So I am willing to tinker with this if it adds value to me. It's for 2 reasons. 1, it adds value to me, and 2, I can speak about it intelligently because I can guarantee as an MSP, customers are going to start asking about this.
John, we'll go.
Yeah, so I've just been kind of racking in my head here. We've been taking a traditional kind of like AppSec lens to this thing, right?
Sure.
So we've been talking about least access privilege, secrets, tokens, authorization. What about some of the unique things to it? Like that autonomy lens of what you just talked about, Jason, where it went and enrolled you to classes and it spent $5,000. And I feel like there's a perspective when looking at Clawdbot and going, how much damage could it do in 5 minutes before I get alerted? And is using that as kind of a boundary lens to it, because that's a unique part of this is the autonomy.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist in a normal AppSec world.
John, do you mean that in the sense of like, let's imagine, and we've had some conversations about this. I don't want to let the genie out of the bottle in your other world, but like you are walking through, how do I talk people through the risks associated with and make decisions around modernization and AI usage, right? I'm maybe over summarizing, but when you think about that, this is that kind of discussion, right? You're sitting down and be like, okay, what could you hook it to? Great. Think now, what damage could be done if I hooked it up to your Amazon account in the next 5 minutes? Well, a lot of shit could show up at my door or be gifted to people, right?
Well,
Like
you
there could be
could
real
cancel the
challenges
orders
there.
in theory.
That's right. In theory, so you could make that modeling, right? So go think through that a little bit. Ideate through that, John, like you're sitting with a client in that conversation.
If I want, go ahead, go, John. You go.
I was just saying.
No, you go. He asked you.
Yeah.
I have thoughts.
Yeah, you're good. I just think of like the autonomy lens and the incentive lens are probably ways that the CEO at the end of the table is going to get, because we go AppSec and we're like boundaries and credentials and rotations and one path.
They're dead.
Yeah. Like it's how did I accidentally break down your way of making money? Like when did all of a sudden I turn off your profit engine? Or the incentive lens is really scary too, because like that doesn't traditionally exist in AppSec. And what I mean by that is, if I just say, I'm the CEO, go do this thing, like what incentives are triggering Clawdbot to work? And that's something that I think like a CEO versus an AppSec issue.
And this is actually a theme about AI problems that I've not really talked about, which is they don't live with the same moral and social constructs we do. Like they're not afraid of being fired. There is no construct of making the business better. There's just a thing that can put words together into the orders to come to the most common answer. And so like you have this challenge of like, we think like it's a human, like we put our anthropomorphization on agents and think, no, they don't think that way. Ordering 5 courses for you could be good for you. They don't think of the negative implications. Anyways, just off on a tangent there a little bit, John.
Yeah, I just think it's like so much simpler to explain to a CEO that like, hey, if I email you right now and you've got Clawdbot running and I tell you, hey, I need you to go order these 20 items from Amazon and ship them to this address, that's a much more simpler injection thought process than like Obsidian MD5. Like it's just simpling it down to the autonomy lens. And that's the scariest part of this thing to me is the autonomy lens, more than all the AppSec things.
And it goes back to, and I know we're getting, and Jason, you had something passionate you were going to say. I know you tossed something in your mouth now, so I'm a jerk.
Oh, it's fine. No, I mean the reality of it is that what he says is true, right? Like that the business owner is going to go, you know what? I don't care about the OPSEC pieces of this, right? Like, and we can control that, and it's on us, the security people, right? You addressed it in the class, CIA triad, right? Like we're pressing on availability here. We don't know how to secure this thing. We haven't figured it out yet, so we're just not going to let you use it. We're gonna hold availability down to stop you to protect the confidentiality and integrity. I think it's on us as InfoSec and cybersecurity people to figure out how to allow availability while doing that, right? Like, okay, you give it access to a card to spend money, but you give it access to a privacy.com card that's got a very defined limit. You give it access to an Amazon account.
But isn't it just that, Jason? It's thinking about those things and how do I limit risk while still taking advantage of the beneficial thing in front of me? Like,
100%.
That's capitalism. Like,
so NF, who I believe is Nick Fry, he was talking about the other day, like, hey, you know, like given this, would you let it do shit for your help desk? Would you let it do tier 1? And I'm like, I wouldn't let it take actions, but I would let it DM a person. I would let it DM a person and explain what it wants to do. And then if authorized and it could log that so-and-so authorized it, then potentially let it perform that action.
So you come back to HITL, right? You come back to this human in the loop aspect. And what's interesting is, and I can't share too much, but like so many vendors are missing that part of this interaction for the speed of it. And this isn't a vendor, obviously, or Moltbot might be actually a vendor, but I know that the original creation of this, they will be from that perspective. They're hitting pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
But I think that everybody's thinking general AI. We're a long way from general AI, but I do believe we are getting these more use out of these flexible capabilities. John, I think your method of talking to people about this and saying like, how do we talk about the risk brings it deeper into, and you said this as the traditional AppSec doesn't have the opportunity side of it, right? Maybe I'm bastardizing your words, but can you go a little more into that?
Well, I was just saying they don't have like the autonomy lens to it, right? Like traditional AppSec, you are worried about all these different pathways, but we've never had an app before that just decides to configure its own APIs, decides to set up its own authorization. Like we've never had an app that did that. So you have to look different.
I guess it's wild.
Yeah, this isn't traditional AppSec; it's agent sec, I guess.
But and it could sprawl, and there's injection capability. Anyway, sorry, not going back on the risk and nerdy side, but I think
it's just incentive is the scarier thing too, right? Like if I can incentivize this thing so maliciously so quick. Like I could,
for sure.
If I was an actor and I was connected via Discord as a tier 1 help desk here, I can incentivize the shit
You
out of
totally just landed on something. So the last major announcement around this has been Anthropic's deep dive into the 17 companies that were breached by people using almost completely agentic flows through Claude. This is on steroids to that extent. Like this is, I'm gonna play. I have some thoughts.
Well,
I have things I'm gonna play with.
You do have the ability to limit this, right? Like you have, like there are controls and other things you can put in place that can and will help with this, right? Like you just have to configure them, and many of them aren't by default.
Yeah, in the actual config of Clawdbot,
even in the prompt, I mean, some of it's prompting, right? But like
sure.
you, there seemed to be some amount of controls. Like it was definitely on the Discord side, for instance, right? Like out of the box, it wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to do it came default deny there, right? Like,
sure.
and I had to do work to do.
So you can tell they put some effort. Like, for example, it doesn't run as sudo. They put some effort into that, I think.
Yeah.
Is the argument. Sure.
So like, it does have the ability to, potentially code itself around those problems. Right. So what I think needs to happen here is we need to be very, very, very careful about who or what we give access to the bot that has access to our credentials.
Yeah.
Right. So like I made mention to the fact that, I drug it into a channel with Heather, it's my wife. She can't access my to-dos. Like it says when I'm dealing with a human that is not Jason, I limit its access to what it has. I limit what things are available to it. Now, I don't know where that happens, right? I'm working on another bot. I built a CWR bot that's not Clawdbot. It's the thing I built that has access to, do ticket lookups and manage and search hoodoo and stuff like that. And right now you have to be in a Slack group to access it. So one of my guy, Damon, actually, you've met him. He goes, "Hey, is that decision as to whether or not I can use it done by the LLM?" And I'm like, "Nope, it's in the code before it gets to the LLM." Right. So I think it comes down to starting to move some of those decisions out of the LLM and into code paths that don't involve it. Right. Like, because you're not going to social engineer that if statement.
The code. Yeah. The if statement doesn't get social engineered.
Yeah. The if statement doesn't care. You're either in the user group in Slack or you're not. Right. So some of this comes down to role-based access control. And I would be very cautious about giving people access to interact with a bot.
Yeah. Well, what about
unless
email,
you trust them?
One of the challenges I think is the email exposure for prompt injection from outside is massive. I think email scares me the most in this scenario from an opportunity to prompt inject by comparison to access to my Discord somehow, right? Like
I think a lot of that comes down to how you deal with it, right? So like basically the way actually the tool, it wanted to connect to 365 using one of two ways. Either one was a skill called Clippy. Clippy uses Playwright to do browser automation and talk to OWA.
Yeah, but even the graph app, to your point, you could restrict. But if it's readable and it's in read mode, the attack could still happen via the read.
It's not processing the emails via the LLM right now, though, right? So it's using the LLM to search and surface emails, but it is not processing. I don't have it, and that's a distinction. I don't have it reading emails and doing shit based on what's in them.
Okay, you're just searching a subject, is what you're allowing access to?
Like I'll ask it like, "Hey, go through my emails and tell me what my to-dos are for tomorrow," right? Like, so maybe there's some exposure there.
Yeah, I would think so. But that's where I don't know. I would like to play with it. Maybe we do some prompt injection abuse at Ride a Boom next week for this. I may play around with it, so we'll see.
This seems super far-fetched, and it's a convoluted way to attack if you can already prompt inject. But if you're already down on the device. I put a link in chat there, Matt, called Subliminal.
Yeah, I saw that Subliminal. I think that's a whole nother topic. I love it.
But could you persuade the model to fine tune itself out on your local machine? And this goes back to my whole point. Like with all this
about that.
That's a weird attack, but it could be subliminally done to where they can kind of plant a bomb.
You just coax it, just to give what context. There's this belief that subliminal aspects where you can just kind of coach something in the model to be different over time.
Research LLM poisoning. You don't
Yeah.
even have to directly do it.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Like, could you? This is all going to land to one point here. So if I could do that, if I could do subliminal learning, I could coach it, and I don't attack then and there, but I just plant a little bomb in the model for later.
Yeah.
This goes back to my earlier question, like, how will you know in 5 minutes what it's done autonomously if it's running all night? And I think that's the thing to focus on. Like, how can you alert on the damage and monitor damage and be able to react in 5 minutes? If you're asleep, what can it do while you're asleep? Like,
which also maybe gives an argument for just like auto shut off of the VM. I mean, if you wanted to, like from that managing the risk window, but I digress. I don't have any more time, y'all. I'm glad we got a stream back together. I hope this was valuable for people. My TLDRs for MSPs is, if you're not having these conversations with clients, they're figuring it out themselves. I would definitely bring this into the risk conversation. I would definitely bring this into a healthy AI use conversation. Anything else to add, guys? I mean, we can get into the security side.
Are we all at CCF?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we should definitely try to do a follow-up there if we don't stream before that.
Yeah, if we don't see y'all out there before that, we will see you at CCF. And if you're not at GTI CCF, you probably should be. Go, John.
I'll say tactically and simply, you need to set an alert if Clawdbot gets installed, and you need to get in front of that. Like, it's just one quick, easy thing to do.
John, what do you know about cloud-based software downloads and installs in any way, man? Shut up, you're not an expert at this in any way. Oh, wait, you are. Yeah, that's right. No, I agree with you, man. I think the point is for everybody, like, have the conversations, be in front of this, and understand that the world's freaking changing, and the capabilities of AI have gotten way more tactical and way more operational, even if that also means maybe negatives, as we've seen. One of the funniest ones I saw was I installed Clawdbot and now I'm going to jail, I think was one of the memes that I saw. It was so good. I digress. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. See y'all later.
See ya later. Thank you.